Yes, people, and welcome back to another video on the Bridge YouTube channel where we bring you all things Chelsea. I'm your host with the most, the Bridge 258, here today to discuss some major breaking news in regards to both Chelsea and the wider footballing world. Here we go. So the first thing I'm definitely going to be discussing and starting on is none other than the Super League. So as you guys know, 2 years ago, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Juve, I believe the other two Italian clubs were involved, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and the six Premier League clubs decided to make a breakaway Super League. And essentially, their belief was that they needed more revenue, they needed more money essentially, and they were doing it for essentially a lot of greed, if we're being honest. But there's also a bit more nuance to the situation, if we're also being honest too, which I'll get into as we get into the video. But essentially, that's what they were trying to do. And as you guys remember, there was obviously we had the game against, if I'm not mistaken, it was Bournemouth. It was actually Brighton. I think we had the game against Brighton, or was the game against Bournemouth that we had literally on the day that this got announced, where they were literally fans were literally like protesting the thing. You had to get checked to open the bus for them to let people in. Obviously, you had the thing at Man United where they entered Old Trafford and stormed Old Trafford as well because of this. And then essentially what's happened, as you guys know, English regulator was kind of like trying to be put in now. It still hasn't been put in essentially as of currently. Because the Premier League are trying to get their act up together such that this legislation does not have to pass through. But essentially that's what it's caused. And the UEFA and FIFA tried to take these guys to court to say essentially that this cannot happen. And the court verdict has come in, and this is like the final court verdict, and it has basically allowed the Super League to do what they want to do. And that UEFA can't really stand in their way essentially, and that UEFA cannot act as a monopoly to the situation. Now, in regards to the actual Super League, the current Super League, apparently it's going to be teams of 8 in each group, so you're going to play 4 home, 4 away, and then whatever after that is probably going to be, as you know, quarterfinals, semi-finals, then finals. That's how it's going to go. There's going to be 3 different tiers, if I'm not mistaken. It's like diamond, gold, and there was another tier under that, and you basically have to get relegated 3 times essentially to be out of the whole league itself, and promotion is 2 per team apparently. So that's how the format currently is. Now, in regards to the Super League itself, and my thoughts and personal opinions. Now, I want to start with the EPL. I think right now, and I'm pretty sure if any regular Premier League fan will tell you that we are currently like the Super League, if you're being honest. Like, if we just not even look at the top 6 sides itself, you look at the spending power that Brighton have, the spending power West Ham have, the spending power Aston Villa have, for example, as well. A lot of billionaires pretty much own our clubs, or like major consortiums with a lot of money own our clubs. You compare it to the other leagues, not so much. If you look at somewhere like E-League, yes, they've got a bunch of up and coming youth talent, but the ownership aren't really that great unless you're PSG or maybe Marseille. Essentially, the others have not really that great ownerships. They don't have that much money around to be able to help them. There's not that much money coming in from like a deal standpoint as well. And even if continue on to League One, for example, their TV ship deal was initially brought by a Chinese company, but then they were not able to pay for the TV streaming that they were meant to be paying per year, and that kind of literally burnt their pockets by such an amount, because now I think, if I'm not mistaken, over there it's Amazon Prime that are like streaming it for like £250 million. So they got like a cut price essentially, and now like their leagues essentially not getting enough money from their TV rights. Poor amount. You then obviously look at the Bundesliga. Bundesliga has Bayern. Obviously, there's also Dortmund, Leverkusen, Eintracht Frankfurt, Stuttgart, Hoffenheim. I know Schalke and the other Bandem are in, what's it called, Bundesliga too. But like, even them, basically it's really a one-horse race, if you're being honest. It's always Bayern essentially have made it completely a monopoly onto themselves, like 13 years in a row. You then obviously go to Serie A, where it's become a bit more competitive now because Juve basically are crooks. Let's be honest. That's it. That is crooks, man. Every time they get caught out or something. So there's definitely happened there. But like, if you actually look at a lot of those leagues, the way they're advertised compared to the EPL, which is something that we have to give like the guys that the EPL, like chairman and those guys who are doing stuff, they've marketed the EPL in an amazing way, and that's what's led to a lot of the stuff that we're seeing right now. The way it's been what's it called, advertised, the way it's brought in an advertisement, everything like that, the way it's been built over years, steady growth, making sure the league gets stronger and stronger over time. You look at somewhere like and obviously you've also got the split payments as well, where you're actually getting, where the clubs are getting equal payments, roughly pretty much, unless you like the winner or like the top four, where it's like only like slight increment differences really from like the top to the bottom really, if you're being honest. So that's what I'm saying to you. Like the EPL, I think has done a great job in doing that. You look at someone like like in La Liga, where the two big teams, which I'm gonna get to, don't you worry about that, yeah. In terms of Barcelona and Real Madrid are getting 80% of the whole pie of the TV rights. So what's in it for a guy like Atletico Madrid, Villarreal, Cadiz, Girona, who else am I forgetting? A Real Sociedad, a Sevilla, a Valencia. You know what I'm saying to you? They're not even getting that much money from the TV rights at all. They're not even getting any money at all. To be honest, I'm surprised that some of these clubs are surviving the way they're surviving without the money they're only getting. A pittance compared to the other clubs. And then you look at like the way that they're advertised. For example, La Liga's advertisement, whoever the head of the league is, I think it's Tabas, is poor. Compared to the Premier League, you can make the same argument for League One, same argument for me for Serie A as well. Although Serie A, it seems that they're starting to catch up. I would actually argue. It seems from watching Serie A, they seem to be catching up. But like the thing is also, and there's another elephant in the room, which is financial. These clubs can no longer financially financially like match the Premier League. The only thing they can really match you now is with heritage, unless you're going to like a PSG, a Bayern. Not even any of the Italian teams. The Italian teams don't even give out that much money like that. Or like or Real Madrid. Those four, I would say, you're only going there for like the badge. I'll be honest. Whereas like Brentford are like offering 43 million for players. Guys are offering 50 million for players. West Ham are getting Kudus. You know what I'm saying to you? This is what I'm saying to you. They got Kudus and Paqueta. Guys that should be really going to top 6 sides, top teams, and they're getting them. So this is why I'm saying to you, like, there is a financial argument there. But, like, part of it, of course, is onto themselves in the sense that they have not advertised their leagues correctly. They have not split the bills correctly between their clubs. And that has caused a major fallout in the sense that financially they're not even getting reimbursed, using that money to then even strengthen and grow the club further, which they cannot do. I mean, even the Bundesliga, like for example, which I go back to again, they have the 50+ run rule. At least for them, it's a bit more different because they're more fan powered. I can understand from why some other clubs may not be as strong as to be able to compete with Bayern in that sense. For example, like I can't understand that, but like those other ones, it's less so much. And the thing for me, when it comes to the Super League, there's also the other factor of like, listen, let's not get twisted. UEFA and FIFA, they're also crooks too. Like I get they obviously are doing the safeguarding of the league, they're trying to do the youth part, but the way they do it as well is not good either. And like they also, we know the stuff UEFA Lona, UEFA Lona is the wrong one I'm going to use, but like the FIFA stuff with like Sepp Blatter and all this other stuff that's been going on, it's not easy either. So like we need to have those discussions too. Now, how do we do that? I don't think sadly the Super League is going to be the final answer to that question, in my personal opinion. But that's for me personally. You probably have to reformat the UCL, in my opinion. How you do that is another question entirely, and you also need to reduce the number of games that these players are playing as well, because the amount of games that UEFA's forced onto players, whether it be Nation League, the UCL in general. So we need to find some level of commonality and balance in order to make that happen, in my personal opinion. So there's that for sure. Now, I'm going to move away from that nonsense of the Super League to Reece James. Now, it's been confirmed today by both Matt Law and Sam Muckbell that Reece James essentially is going to have surgery. It's going to be done by a specialist in Finland, and he's going to be out for at least 4 to 6 months. And listen, this is the approach that they've taken. Hopefully this works out for him, and hopefully it leads to him having some level of success for him too. Now for me personally, and I've said this before, hopefully you give him as much time out as he need, as much rest as possible. You start him again next season. You know what I'm saying? I know he may want to play the Euros, but I'm sorry. You need to make sure this is never again. We're not hearing about it again. We're not seeing about it again. We're not feeling about it again. Next year is the finale. Finite incantatum. Literally. So hopefully that is the solution, and hopefully that goes well for him at the end of the day, man. That's all I can say about my boy Reece James, and wish him nothing but the best, man. Simple as that, man. In the meantime, hopefully the club are looking at some level of like a backup right back to bring in, whether that be obviously from the academy or whether that be a loan for like 6 months to hold down the fort alongside Gusto. We'll see. Now, let's move on to the next topic, which is some breaking news actually that's happened recently. So Ornstein has reported, or the Athletic I should say as well, have also reported that Gallagher is available apparently, that Chelsea are willing to listen to offers for him. They believe they've got enough midfield depth in order for Gallagher to be able to leave, which makes sense if you look at it. Again, Santos, Ogochukwu, Enzo, Caicedo. There's also some other guy they're trying to bring in now too, Dauda, the Senegalese midfielder. So there's a lot of guys, a lot of bodies they're trying to bring in to help to make sure that the squad is ready and strong for the future. So again, listen, Gallagher, yes, he's played the majority of the time. Yes, Pochettino may want him, but if he's not going to agree a contract, or if there's a situation where the club don't want to sign him onto a new deal, and maybe they don't believe in him as highly as maybe Pochettino, and there's a difference in agreement there, and they want him to be gone, then it's their prerogative to do so. I'd say at the end of the day. Now I know that it's not right if the manager likes him and wants him, that they will sell him in January, because it doesn't really make sense to me either. But it is what it is. Just gotta hold up your hands to it, man. But yep, and then finally, in the final bit of news from Ornstein, is that Arsenal are not going in for Osimhen, Sasko, or Ferguson. So it looks like it's going to be Ivan Toney for them. And yeah, it really clears up the path for Chelsea if they are going to go for a Victor Osimhen, to go for him. So we'll see what happens there for sure. But hopefully, man, we get a striker. I personally am thinking that it's going to be Gyökeres that we're going to go for, and that wouldn't surprise me personally. And that's the type of guy I wouldn't mind him. But again, for me, he's just another Jackson sign, in the sense that he hasn't got the experience. He's gonna need time to develop. So, and he needs that system. So we're gonna see if that happens or not. But at the end of the day, big up to Gyökeres. Now, that is the video, guys. As always, please continue to like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe as always. I've been your host, the most, the British 258. Dedicate your hearts, and as always, please make sure to stay blue.